Hello and welcome to the DDHQ preview of the June 7th elections. I'm Drew McCoy, sitting in for Brandon Finnegan. This week we have primary elections in Iowa, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and California, where we also have a much-watched DA recall election in San Francisco. Before we begin, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for notifications so you'll be among the first to know when we release new videos. Now let's get to this week's elections. It's all pretty much about California on Tuesday. We start in San Francisco, where voters will decide whether or not to recall District Attorney Chesa Boudin. Boudin is 2.5 years into his term, but with crime and homelessness among voters' top concerns, opponents of Boudin's approach to law enforcement were able to collect enough signatures to get the recall measure on the ballot. This isn't the first recall election of the year in San Francisco. You may recall back in February, voters recalled 3 members of the city's school board over concerns of the direction of student education. Prior to this year, no city official had faced a recall vote since 1983. That was a failed effort to oust then mayor and now longtime Senator Dianne Feinstein. Polls closed locally at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 on the East Coast. Since most votes are cast by mail or early in person in California, we should know the results fairly quickly, unless it's going to be a close race. Back in February, when the 3 school board members were recalled, they each lost by 70%, and we were able to call those races within an hour or so of polls closing. If Boudin is recalled, San Francisco Mayor London Breed will be the one to pick his replacement. The recall vote is being held on the same day as the state's primary day for November's general election. Voters are going to be picking candidates in a number of contests, including governor, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and state legislative districts across the entire state. As a reminder, California's statewide and federal primaries, they're conducted in a single race for each office, with the top 2 vote getters squaring off in the general election, regardless of party. It's not a jungle primary that we see in some other states, so even if the leading candidate breaks the 50% threshold, the second place candidate will also move on to November's election. Governor Gavin Newsom, who survived a recall vote last year, is expected to lead the packed field for governor. The battle for second place is really coming down to 2 candidates, State Senator Brian Dahle, he's the officially endorsed candidate of the state's GOP, and independent Michael Shellenberger. Shellenberger has focused his campaign primarily around the state's crime, drug, and homelessness problems, which are issues many voters indicate are among their top concerns. The Newsom camp has actually run ads to boost Dahle among GOP voters, seemingly in the hope and expectation that he'd be the easier candidate to beat in November. Now, voters will also be picking candidates for the U.S. Senate. Senator Alex Padilla is expected to lead the primary and general election races in November to win his own first term in the Senate. He's currently serving as an appointed senator, having replaced Kamala Harris once she took office as vice president. Because he's serving as an appointed senator, he's also running in a special primary being held on the same day. Assuming he's one of the top finishers in this race, he'll again be on the ballot twice in November, once for a full term of his own, and once to serve from November through January of next year to complete the term he's been filling out since January of 2021. Sometimes you just have to love elections and election rules. On the House front, most of the attention is going to be focused on the 40th district based in Orange County. There, freshman Republican Young Kim is in potential danger of not finishing in the top 2. In addition to Asif Mahmood, the only Democrat in the field, Kim faces a challenge from her right in the form of Greg Raths, who's a retired Marine Corps fighter pilot. Now, Orange County was once considered a Republican stronghold, but after the 2018 Democratic wave, all 7 of the county's seats in Congress were held by Democrats. In 2020, Kim and Michelle Steele won back 2 of the seats for the GOP. Now, after redistricting, Kim is actually running in a seat that's more Republican-friendly than the one she won in 2020 and currently holds. The problem for her, though, is it's almost entirely new to her. Democrats view Raths as their preferred opponent for Mahmood, while most national Republicans have rallied around Kim. Raths tried, but he failed to get the endorsement of former President Donald Trump. If this is a close race, then it could be a while before both candidates can be called. What day of voting there still is in California can be expected to skew Republican, and that vote is probably going to favor the more conservative Raths. So unless Kim is running away with it on election night, we could be waiting a while on this one. Beyond California, there really just aren't too many high-profile races on Tuesday. One to watch, though, is the Democratic Senate race in Iowa. Former Congresswoman Abby Finkenauer is considered the favorite, but she had to go to court to be placed on the ballot because there were some questions over her nominating petitions. That race might be tighter than people expect. Retired Navy Admiral Mike Franken raised over $1 million in the most recent reporting period. During that same time, Finkenauer brought in just over $650,000. Overall, she has raised more money than he has during the entirety of the campaign, but it could be an indication in the absence of polling that the race could be closer than expected. Whichever one of the candidates does win that race, they're going to be facing, likely to be facing longtime incumbent Chuck Grassley. Grassley does face some potential opposition in the primary, but it's probably just going to be token. And assuming he gets through, he will be the heavy favorite come November in that race in Iowa. Polls close at 8 p.m. Central in Iowa, so we should have a pretty good indication shortly after that how things are going, certainly for Grassley. But it is possible that the Finkenauer-Franken race may be tighter than we expect, so we'll just have to wait and see and watch that one. The rest of the states holding their primaries on Tuesday, those include Mississippi, polls close there at 7 p.m. Central, Montana at 8 Mountain, also in the Mountain Time Zone, New Mexico at 7 o'clock. On the East Coast, New Jersey closes at 8 p.m., and back in the Central Time Zone, South Dakota closes at 7. Thanks for watching. I'm Drew McCoy. Please, once again, give us a like for the video, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for notifications so that you'll be the first to know once we release another one of these preview videos. Brendan Finnegan will be back next week to preview the primaries in Maine, Nevada, where a couple of incumbents could be in trouble, North Dakota, South Carolina, where 2 anti-Trump candidates could face ouster, plus we have a special election in Texas. It should be a good one.